All right, good day everyone. How is everyone doing? It's a pleasure to have you guys as part of our first ever build sprint. So just welcome. It's going to be a very interesting ride. We're going to have a lot of fun and everything. So we have a lot of things coming up today. And before we start over, I would like to just introduce like Doom Academy to those who don't know about Doom Academy. So Doom Academy is a community-focused platform that allows people to learn um, on-demand skills that make them stand above others and stand distinct above all and improve your competence amongst everyone by building your skills and working practically. So we try to ensure that you don't just learn, you get to get practical work experience, you get to put things to practice, and you also get to work along others and get like real world experience building real things. So we have different kinds of initiatives we run. We run webinars. We have courses on our platform. We currently have two courses on our platform that are currently available on our platform. And we also have webinars that we run from time to time. And this build sprint is something new we're introducing. And it's a way of having periodic classes where we can have sessions of classes bordering on one particular stuff. So we could do trainings on building apps. We could also do trainings on things like getting a job in tech, things like UI UX design, things that just border down into more specific areas of tech. So that's just the idea of everything. But Build Sprint itself is a mini. It's kind of like a mini sprint. If you guys have an idea of what the sprint is, a sprint is like a week. It's like a set out time of week where they kind of put in objectives of the week and what they need to do and what they need to achieve for that week. So that's what we're trying to get done right now. That's what we're trying to get done right now. So that's the importance of today's class. So we're going to be having two different sessions today. So we're going to be first the first session we're going to be having is the planning session where we're going to be planning out how we're going to be building the app we're building. And also we're going to be having the design session where we'll be looking at the UI UX of the platform. So it's going to be a fun experience for everyone. And I hope to that you guys learn a lot from the experience. Before I even start with, with this thing, I just want to just clarify a few things. So there's a reason why I want you guys to actually join with to actually register on on this site. It makes attendance to the meetings a little bit easier for you guys because once you able to do there, you guys can easily be added to an upcoming call, like each of these upcoming calls easily. So like if you subscribe to one of these to this series, you'll be subscribed to all of these sessions under the series. So we have day one. Day one is what we're going to be doing the planning and design of the app. I'm just going to go to day two. So also we have day two. Day two is what we're going to work on the backend logic and the data, like and data structure. And day three is only going to be implementing the UI and hosting the app. So I'm going to introduce the app very shortly. So I'm going to be talking about the app very shortly. So before I do it, who here has something to share? I just want people to just share the expectations from this build sprint and what they aim to like get from it. So I'm going to start with let me see, let me choose someone at random. Let me see. This has to be a lady. Okay. Deborah Salco, Deborah, can you hear me? Deborah, are you in the call? Okay, we can move ahead. Shegun, You can share what your expectations from this class are. Let's just get to know what you like, what your expectations are.
All right, good
Right.
evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good evening.
Good
Yeah, good
evening.
evening.
Okay, I'm actually on a walk, but in just a simple sentence, I'm looking forward to understand end-to-end project management. Did you get that?
Yeah, I did. Thank you very much for sharing. It's just very important to be able to know how to build stuff from end to end. So, yeah, so I'm going to be introducing the concept of the app. Then we're going to be going into like the doodling the ideas we have for it. Then before we go into the design session, so we're going to be spending like the next 20 minutes in this planning phase. So I'm going to just introduce the app to you guys. Thanks for sharing what you have to share. Yeah. Yeah. So you want to know how to manage projects and from start to finish. So we're going to be building an app called Dine Swipe. So if you guys like, have you guys planned to like with your friends, you plan to like go out, maybe you want to go and get a meal or something like that, or you want to just hang out, but you guys cannot really like you guys are not really agreeing on where to um you guys don't have an agreement on where to eat or where to hang out in. Has anybody have had that experience? Just wave your hand on like just press the wave button if you've had that experience before. Like you want to go out, maybe you want to go for like you guys want to go for a hangout, maybe your church or your school, or maybe like you guys like work colleagues or so, and you guys just want to have a hangout or something like that, or a get together or an end of year stuff, but you guys are not agreeing on where to go to. Like there's actually in like you guys are arguing on where to go to. Has that happened to you guys? Like raise up your hand if you've experienced that before. Yeah. So no other person has experienced it. Okay. Um how do I say we should give examples? Well, I think we don't have so much time. We need to get into the design phase by um and like the wireframing as soon as possible. So I will just talk about the basic idea of what this app is all about. So definitely what we're trying to look at is we're trying to look for a way to draw the problem. Sorry, someone's trying. So I'm going to draw the problem. So when you're talking about an app, you're going to look at first of all different issues. So we're trying to build um so I'm just going to increase the size of this, like zoom in a bit. So what we're trying to do is that we're working on the project. The project name is the project is Dine Swipe. So this is the name of the project, and don't forget about the name. The major idea around this project is that we're trying to, no, I think I like it large. Let me just maybe add another text. Um, make this one small. So what we're trying to do is a simple voting app where you can choose resolve disputes, like choose the best restaurant, like you can get to choose the best restaurant that you want to visit. So you want to visit. So that's just the basic idea behind this application. So I'm seeing someone wants to join. Does anybody want to join this call? No. Okay. All right. So you guys have this basic idea. So what the key problem is that we have a problem. I'm going to make color this problem in red. So we have this key problem. I'm going to make it larger. The problem is that a group of friends, like groups of friends regularly disagree about where they want to hang out. I know this is a real problem because it kind of happens a lot of times. Like you get people disagreeing. So like you want to go out to somewhere, person like, no, this place is better. No, this place is better. Like you want to do it like a party or like just like something like that. But everybody has the best opinions of where they feel like is the best place for them to hang out. So we're trying to solve this problem. And before I before I talk about like the voting option, does anybody know a way that this problem can be solved apart from like and putting it up to vote? Like when you're with your friends, like who has been able to solve this problem without any disputes among friends, like being able to like choose the best restaurants? Like how do you guys handle your own? I would ask I'll ask Oluwatobi if he has been able to handle this kind of situation before. Oluwatobi, can you take the mic?
Good evening. I think uh I think we'll just compromise. Yeah. So uh actually I've not really had this experience, but if I'm in that situation, I'll just compromise and allow others make the decision.
All right, all right, that's cool. Um, that's cool. That's cool. So that's actually okay. So that's one issue. That's one thing about that. So there's always that feeling that when you finally reach out the idea that some people had their way over you guys, especially when you go to the place and it turns out maybe the place you were planning to go was like better, or maybe HR or somebody like that, somebody in the team now like had like said like okay, the person is going to like since the person is conveying a lot of things, you finally agree that this is the place. And when you guys went there, maybe you saw it was too small. The place was not conducive for everybody. So we just want something that it would be like it was a unanimous decision that most majority of everyone chose this place, and it was the best option. So so let's say key things that key things we need to solve. So I'm going to write key things we need to solve. So I'm going to say green. I'm going to put this in green. Say key things we need to solve. So number one key thing we need to solve is deciding a way of choosing of choosing restaurants. So we need to decide a way of choosing restaurants. That's one thing we need to consider. Number two is that we need to also consider how like how it's going to work. So how the voting process is going to work. So we need to consider how the how the choosing process will work. And third thing we need to also consider is um how we decide the winning restaurant. So this what it is now. So first of all, you need to know. So this what it is. So you need to know. So I'm going to explain this. This is like the three part stuff that we're trying to just do. So we need to decide a way of like how do we even choose the the restaurants, do you understand, that we want? How do we make people choose the restaurants that they want? Um, how would the choosing process work? So how would they go ahead? Like if we've decided, okay, voting is the way, how will it work? Do you understand? How will it work that it's going to be ideal for everyone? So how will we decide the winning restaurant? So let's try the first problem, and we decide, okay, so we want to go to the first problem. So I'm going to itemize the first problem, and that's deciding. Going to go to the first problem. So we need to go to the first problem, and that's deciding up here. Deciding on the best restaurant. On deciding how to choose. So how do we build an interface? Because we want to build an interface for these things. How do we make them choose? So we need to decide that. We need to find a way of having that done. So we need to decide how to choose. So we need them to be able to um so we need them. This is where we just say how to choose. This is where we just go into the high level of how things work. Do you understand? We don't really go to the nitty gritty of how, like, of everything, but we just go into the high level of how things work. So how in the high level, explain the things in the high levels of how things will work. So number one is that we need people to, so we need a way people need to choose the restaurant they want. So we'll say people need to choose the restaurant they want. So, like in every option, like when you're building an app, there are so many restaurants in a town. Are you feeling? But it's not all the restaurants. So you need to know the options of restaurant, the options. So we need to say choose the options of restaurants they want. So the choices of the options of restaurants they want. So we need them to be able to choose the options of websites they want, of restaurants they want. Then when they choose, they need a an interface to vote. So they also need an interface to so when they need to choose, they now need an interface to then vote on the restaurants they want. Then that was not the same. So these are the two things they need to decide. So deciding how they will choose. So people need to choose the options of restaurants they want. Obviously, when you're in a town, like with your friends, it's not all the restaurants you will choose. There are specific restaurants that everybody's like clamoring for. So when you look at all the restaurants that people are clamoring for, you need to give them an option of being able to choose the restaurants they want. So we can create like a database where we can gather like all the names of the top restaurants in a town and put it in the app and allow them to be able to choose based on those ones. Then we need to create an interface for like a way of them voting and stuff like that. So that leads us to the process. This now leads us to the next stuff, and that's the process. We're now going to the process. So we need to go to the process now. So with this, the high level, people need to choose. Obviously, let's not break down things. So we need to go to the process. The process. So we need to decide on the process. Are you feeling? So can somebody know, like, can somebody tell me how they would go around this process? Adini, can you explain like what the process would be like if it's you that is building the app? Like what the process would be like for this thing. All right. Okay, if you don't want to speak, I can just go on. So we don't really waste much time. Time is not on our side. So the process is, and one is that we said it needs to choose the best restaurant. So we need to create a way. We need to first of all, we need to first of all gather the list of the restaurants. We need to show them gather the lists of restaurants and show it to them. The next stuff we need to do is also let a person. So we need someone like a person and show it to a user. So we need someone that will create a room person. Um so and put it in an app. And we need to put this and put it in an app, put it in an app. So we need to also let a user, so whoever is going to use our app, we need to let a user create a room where they can vote on. So this room they'll need to create on. So when in that room that they created, they'll need to choose the restaurant, choose the restaurants option. Let me explain this part. Options for like voting, or let's say the nominees. So nominate like something like nominating restaurants. Are you following? So you need to nominate the restaurants because obviously it's not all the restaurants that will go and be on the final vote. Then when they choose the restaurant, when they choose the restaurants, they will now save the room and share a voting link with their peers or whoever they want to vote with. Once they share the voting link with their friends, the friends can come in via the link to the room and vote. So we just said, obviously, this is like very high level because when we're building it up, we'll see get to the nitty-gritties of all this. But I hope you guys understand this. If you guys understand, just do a wave emoji. Just throw an emoji, like a thumbs up emoji, like in the distance. So I'll understand that you guys are following. All right, that's cool. So you guys understand it till now. So we need to get a list of restaurants in a particular city. So for example, the use case we're going to be using is like a city of Enugu. So we're going to be looking at the city of Enugu. But if you're building this app for yourself, you're going to be like saying obviously like some of you stay in Lagos, some of you stay in Abeokuta, some of you stay in Freetown, some of you stay in Accra, some of you stay in whatever town you stay in Africa or wherever you stay in the world. You need to be able to know like create like an interface for the top restaurants in those towns that people will be able to vote for, like people will be able to choose from. Then you let the user create a room. So there needs to be a room that they will vote in. So it's just like Google Meet now, where you can create like a meeting and people can join that meeting. That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to create a room where people can join and vote on those restaurants. Now, when you share that link, people can now use that link to vote on those restaurants. So that's just basically the end thing. So when we're not going to the main stuff, how it works, that's when we're not going to the wireframe of every stuff. So I'm just going to create like a small interface of how it is. So yeah, this is just definitely the idea. When we're going to your we'll soon start the UI UX process, but this is definitely the idea of the stuff. So we have the room, this is the voting room, and we have the restaurant choices. So let's say restaurant one. I'm just going to, and we have all this. Someone can just come here and click on each of these and vote on them. So you have the different restaurants of this thing. So when you come into the app, when they create a room, and they've done the stuff. This is how they vote. So let's say this is the voting room. Okay, let me go like definitely before we share, we need to have a way of creating this thing. So this is just definitely the idea we have. So in our head, this is what we're thinking is going to look like. So before we go into UI UX and every other stuff to like design the app, this is just a rough sketch of what we think it would look like. Are you feeling? So from this, you guys have basic idea of what is going to happen now. You guys know that. Okay, let me explain what this is. So you have restaurant A. Let me just say this is RA. You have RB. R stands for restaurant. So RB, whatever name is, like a card that represents the restaurant. So you have RC, and you have RD. So somebody can just come by interacting with this card, the person can vote on it. And when the person has clicked on the one he wants, he can submit his choice. So this can be a submit vote or something, submit vote button where they submit their votes. And when they submit their vote, after a while, they can now see the results. So we have like a result stuff where it shows the top restaurants and maybe the number of votes they had. So you can have the top restaurants. So we can have like a diamond showing like the top restaurants. So maybe like let's say RB won the votes, RB won or something like that. Then can I have like other restaurants, like the ranking of other restaurants under that. So you can have the ranking of other restaurants that ranked others, so other people's choices and every other stuff. So you can now know how it fared. I know the restaurant that won. So I think this is easy, Abby. No rigging. You can't rig this stuff. So I think at this point I can hand it over to Ifunanya, the UIX, our UIX designer, to kind of explain the design process of how this is going to run. And let me just hand it over to her to go on with this part. I hope you guys understood what I've said so far. If you guys understood what I said so far, just try an emoji, any other stuff. If you guys have questions also, you can ask. But if you understood so far, just an emoji. All right. So if now over to you.
Thank you, everybody. I want to know if you guys can hear me loud and clear. You like an emoji or something. All right, so I'll basically just share my screen so that we can communicate effectively. Before then, I'd like to know the category of people I'm speaking with. Right, so I know we are just few, right? Maybe you could just write on the chat session. Are you a designer? Are you a product manager? Are you software developer? So this will help me to know the line of conversation I will, the people I'm addressing and how I'm going to come in. So I don't know, like a product designer, let's be fast. This is supposed to be an interactive section, so please, so it's a lot. What we are doing, it's a lot, right? People just send you videos, but now we are building in front of you. Developer, who else? Like we have two categories of persons. Who, any other, I want to know the percentage of people. Adeniyi, Chukwuebuka, Idoko.
Still learning. If you're still learning, you can post that you're still learning. So
any of that. Web dev, okay. All right, so that's a lot on my head to say, but we try to be straightforward and let me use Figma. Figma is the tool I know very well. So it's like where I eat, breathe, and I don't have my bean there, please. So yes. Yeah, thank you very much. So within this period of time, thank you so much, Boss Emeka, for all of that. What just happened now is what we call like a sprint, a design sprint, if it's coming from design aspects, where you brainstorm and all of that. So normally as a product designer, if it could be a client, you may be working directly with your client, or possibly be working in a company of which you are a product designer. But I heard somebody say that he wants to learn what it means to be in product management. Please give me 1 minute, please. All right. He wants to learn what it means product management, like the whole cycle, right? So usually, if you're working in a company, the clients, speak with maybe the manager of the company or whoever is heading the tech department, and then whoever is that works with a product manager. You have a conversation with the client and know what the client, problem is. I mean, the problem, not problem, is the problem of the application, and they come out with what we call PRD. PRD, like product requirement documents. So anytime, most times, someone comes to me or a client directly, or I'm working in a company and they ask, and there is a project. One of the things I ask for is, oh, can I get a PRD? Can I get a product requirement document? And that's one of what's a product requirement document. It tells you everything that has to do, everything that you want to achieve, the client tend to achieve with the application. So things like, the problem you're trying to solve, just like, Emeka have showed us, things like the user flow, just like Emeka have showed us. So there are different, category of product requirement documents. Some can be very short, some can be very, elaborate, right? If you get a very much elaborate one, good for you. However, after that, you could still have to, there may still be a need for you to have like a stakeholder interview. We call it stakeholder interview with the client, or whoever is representing the company, the people that want to view the app company. So all of this, some people call it discovery call, right? So the whole essence of a stakeholder interview, I'll be very short on all this and I'll go straight. The whole essence of the stakeholder interview is for you to, understand the mind of the stakeholder. You want to feel the emotions of the stakeholder. You want to know how the team they prepare for body. You want to know what the client expects, what they call a success rate, what exactly. And again, it's the time you give valid recommendations and ideas to what you think, because you are not basically just designing what the client wants, right? You're also designing what the user will want. So that's that. So the question now is, what's the process like, right? So I'll just quickly type out what the process is like for us with regard regard product design. So I'll be fast. So we have where you want to understand, the problem, which having conversation from the PRD, you should be able to. You want to know who the target audience are, right? You also want to know from most PRD had all of this. Most of the audience, well, the clients may possibly have what they think the problem is, right? But you as a UI designer, you have to validate, or however research more whether, is this the problem? Is this the only problem? So this is where you want to have certain conversation with people, the supposed target audience. That's why Emeka was asking things like, oh, how many of you have experienced this whole thing where you want to choose a restaurant and you can not choose the restaurant? You guys are having difficulties. So that's actually a research, Emeka was trying to do. So this we call it in design qualitative research, just basically interviews. There are some where I know many of you must have filled a lot of I'm trying to be very fast. Many of you must have filled a lot of surveys where they say, hey, we're trying to build the app, can you fill the survey? You want to know this, that, right? So that particular one is called quantitative research. So from that research, right, you're trying to see, okay, want to validate, oh, is this the problem? Is there more that we have to look on? Because UI UX means user interface, user experience, user experience. So one of the things that enable that you have a better user interface is your user experience, like the information you get about who you are building for, basically. So these things, one of the things these things do for you is that it helps to shape your mindset. It helps to shape your thought pattern, so that when you're designing, you're not just designing, on your own. You're designing with enough information. I want to take note of that. So the next thing you want to do that based on the quantitative research you've done, it mustn't be complex. I mean, depending on how much time your company give, right? Even if your company, maybe many qualitative and quantitative research can be quite pricey. Some company would rather not do that. Or one of the things, especially with Nigerian companies in quotes, is that they're always in a hurry. So on your own, even if it's 1, 2, 3 person, see, I need to talk to you concerning this. What's your take? Have you experienced this? How was it for you? Because it really helps you. Even if you're just going to design something that only you will use, or only 1 or 2 persons will use, but having to find a certain category of your target audience. So maybe you have, let's use for example, one of the target audience of these people are of the Dine Swipe application is who could be like colleagues at work, because colleagues, like when I mean work colleagues, because during weekend hours they want to go and jaye, they want to cool off, right? So you have to look for those category of people. Another one could just be maybe family members, it may even be husband and wife. Do you get? Depending. So you have to identify those categories. So we have user persona, a very fast user persona. User persona are like when you are like target audience, but in this target audience in which you are listening out more information about them. You want to know their age, you want to know the problem you're trying to solve, you want to know their pain points, you want to know where they live, more detailed information about your target audience and how it relates with with the application you want to build. So you have your user persona. And so one thing the user persona help you to do is that it helps you to really identify their pain points. When you have spoken with your stakeholder, it's your stakeholder. Stakeholder means your client or whoever you're building the application for. They have a certain problem. They will tell you a certain problem they're trying to solve, but it's not enough. You may want to know more, right? So after doing your, talking to people and coming up with user persona, you are able to, basically just identify the pain points and many other things. But I just want to list this out. After which, when you do that, I know this is a lot of jargon, but I know this is recorded. So with time, for the newcomers or beginners, right? I really also want developers to get this point, because many times when I have conversation with them, they think it's just drawing circles and triangles and squares. Right? So these are some of the things we do either passively in quotes, or we do actively, consciously or unconsciously, basically for the UI UX designer. So when you have the personas, that this is where we talk about brainstorming. So this is where Emeka was trying to ask, okay, how do you think we're going to solve this problem? How do you think we're going to solve this, not indecisiveness? Let me use the word. So many of you, in your head may have come up with, oh, let's vote, let us throw a lot, let us many other things. So after going about your brainstorming, the next thing, would be, oh, let's talk about the user flow, right? That's still deep other things before user flow, however. But yeah, after after brainstorming, another thing you want to do, I'm rushing because I want to enter deep into it, but I want to lay a foundation. After brainstorming, during the brainstorming session, you are able to know the possible features in the application. This is where this is what I call use feature breakdown, right? Then we come to user flow. All of these problem, target audience, research, user personas, you could classify them to be UX. Now let's go to the UI. So you now possibly know how the user flow is going to go. This is where you want to know you want to come up with a design system or a style. I'm going to show you what this looks like, because I believe that this is one thing that every developer is supposed to be aware of to be able to design better and to avoid what I ordered versus what I got. Then we have design system. There's something called mood board. There's something called, I'll explain all of this. We have mood board, we have wireframe. Wireframe is what Emeka did. And then we have the high fidelity design. This is the actual design. And we have the user testing. So it doesn't look like I'm talking to myself. I don't know, did anybody get what I was saying? Was I too fast? Should I slow down? Oh, okay, I didn't hear it, right? We're going to have question and answer session now. You can ask every of the question you have in your mind. So I think at this point, I'm going to slow down because I just wanted to lay a foundation on, knowing that we have the developers and, product designers and product manager possibly here. So let's go to Dine Swipe. I called it Dine poll before, but let's just use Dine Swipe. And I wish I could get a screenshot of the wireframe that Emeka did, but then. So the first thing you want to do is you want to ask your stakeholder, okay, what color are we going for? Do you guys have a brand color? Many times product designer meet me, they meet me and like people starting up, like, oh man, what colors will I use for? I'm like, okay, whoever you're designing for is supposed to have a brand color. I'm like, they don't have a style guide, like a brand. I'm like, okay, what's the color of their logo and all of that? So I'm gonna borrow. I already have a color. So the next thing now is, in this kind of thing, what is the possible color, right? If I was to make a decision, or if I was to recommend a color to, the clients, let me use clients, please. It's more accessible. When we talk about restaurants, right, or where you go and eat, or where you, I'm not gonna say where you chop. The next, you are talking about food, and when it comes to food, there are basically, some colors that come to mind, which is, orange, things like your carrot that is orange, green. When you cook jollof rice is orange. Things like green, we have leaves, things like red, tomato red, and some certain colors that, that are catchy and can be related to food, right? So you want people to come into the application and feel like clicking their mouths and like, I want to leak this application. I want to leak this website. I want to leak this mobile application, whatever. So that's why I made a choice. So actually I have already designed it to a level, right? So because of, I know I would not have all of the time to design from all of it. So I had to go to, personally, this is what I do, right? Yeah, first of all, let me show you the general way. So you could go to somewhere they call material, UI, colors, let's search. So you go to material UI.color, and then where you click on it, you see different colors, right? You can decide, oh, which category of color you want, and then you see the code and you copy, right? But one thing that I basically personally like doing, that I like going to Dribble. I go to Dribble, and then I say something like, oh, green. And again, another choice between white and dark theme. I would prefer a dark theme, or not that I would prefer. I will choose a dark theme because of the category of people we are building for, which are basically the yo people, 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 or rather the Gen Z people, or the people that that like party life, or like hangout life, or sit out life. Many of them, they usually like dark theme. Many new generations, like not the older, they usually like dark theme. And dark theme have a way of making colors of food pop. So that's why I'm going with regards to dark theme. You want to go further to asking people, oh, light theme and dark theme, which would you prefer, right? So personally, I usually just go to Dribble, and I like green and black. It's just me. I've showed you the general way. There are many sites like this where you can see colors, and then you choose. There are many designers with their different styles. I say green and black, maybe mobile app, because I want to do a mobile view. Meanwhile, what we are building is mobile view. I think Emeka will explain that very. So I see something like this. I'm like, oh, because green. There are lots of green. I'm like, oh, there are also sites where they help you combine all of this, right? So I look at this. I'm like, oh, okay. I think I like this. I like the way the both of them blend, the black and the. This is my style. That's if your stakeholder did not give you, and many people, many stakeholder, right, which is not major, should not be the the main practice. Many stakeholders that are just starting up, startups, for example, they tend to want to leave everything to you. Like, okay, you know what? Choose a color. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm like, okay, due to my expertise, because I was once a graphic designer, right? So I just suggest some things, right? And or I just recommend a graphic designer too. But because of our here, and we are the graphic designer, we're the owner of the product, right? So that's why, based on what I've told you guys, I'm going for green, and I'm going for a dark theme. So first of all, what is a design system? I know this may be the next question. So design system is a collection of reusable components. You must have, if you're let's say nobody's, if you're a UI designer, you should be conversant what a component is. They are reusable components. So things like your card, your button, accordion, slider, many of the components that make up a UI. If you really don't know much about UI components, you can just browse example UI components, and you see different, and the things that makes up your UI, usually your button, your cards, your slider, accordion, navigation. These are UI components. So design system are a collection of reusable components, guideline principles that help to guide our user interface design, right? So if you heard what I said collection. So many people try to mistake style guide from design system. This is another topic on its own. So can you guys hear me? Yes. This is another topic on its own. Design system is another topic on its own, but I'm going to show you an example of what a design system look like. So, okay.
We'll have a separate class for those who are interested in knowing this. We'll have a class for that soon. like a separate class for that. But for now, this is a high level of everything. So
Yeah.
go on.
All right. So we can have. So I'm not going to show much about it, but then for this what we are doing now, we actually need like a style guide, and a style guide um and which I usually advise, because many people are like, oh, can I do the whole, I need to show you what a design system look like. Just I have a copy quickly. So a design system, right, can be much more complex, right? But you can browse on what design system is. So we have like, you should have your typography you're going to use, the color you're going to use, right? Then the UI component, like I mentioned before, the buttons you're going to use, the illustration, the avatar, the toggle, the drop down, the spacing, all of those things. But first of all, before all of all these things, because this is quite complex, some people don't have to build all these things first before designing. No, three major ones I usually advise people to have is get down your typography, get down your color, get down your icons. These three things, and then that's what exactly I have done here. This place I mentioned style guide, right? So we have our logo, we have typography. Like I said, design systems, another this thing, have the colors. So we're going with this color, and there is a plugin used to generate this. We call it tint and shade. There are many other plugins like foundation, color, and all of that. So this is our primary color, this is our secondary color. So for developers, they help developers identify, oh, this is the color I use, these are the variation of color. So to avoid, oh, you use this color here, use another color here. I think there's a way that they have to put this thing on their code base. I really do not know much about that. And then components. These components are, I usually do this component, as I'm designing and putting it, So basically, and then icons. The truth for me is that I usually do not, depending, right? I usually use a plugin called Iconify. Iconify has a lot of icons that I can go without, coming here, start choosing an icon or going to the component library to choose an icon. That's by the way. So let's get into the high fidelity, right? And like I said, I've already done, but I want to show you guys one or two things, right? Let's see. The user flow, just to iterate what's already said. User flow, you want them to click on create a room. When you create a room, you create a room, select a restaurant. After that, what happens? You rename give it name the restaurant, right? When you name the restaurant, it comes, you see link, and you also share link or copy link, depending link. When you do that, then everybody sees it, enter the room and votes, and then you know who wins. So this is the basic flow. So I don't know what I have to design or not to design, or to how much time do I have?
Half an hour. Like,
Oh, okay. Okay, so let me relax now. Am I rushing? So let's design. So when I spoke with the developers, that's the Emeka team. Sorry, Emeka is also a developer. They talked about how they want a mobile view first, and how that how the difference with time you guys are looking for. You know how Okay, let's go to something like, sorry, piggy vests. No, I'm not logged in, so I have money there. I don't have money there. I've moved my money. I'm going to go to Nigeria back again. So let's say, eh, you see how like piggy vests, it wasn't like this before. The section, it's like a, if you see this, I have just 156 naira. See, I'm not broke in Jesus' name. You see how the it's just sections it have a feel of as though you are using the mobile application for those that have the application. So that's what we want to achieve, right? With mobile first, right? So like it's being at the center. So that's why I'm doing a mobile view first. But in some cases, in many cases, personally, I like designing. I like designing web before doing mobile, right? But this is this case, and this is the reason I'm doing this because I've had a conversation with developers, right? And with the company owner, which is Emeka, and then this is why I'm making decision. So let's dive into it. We're gonna do a mobile, view first before they will now know how they do their thing to make it to the web. Am I understood? Like, you guys understand me? Do you understand me? Okay, just at any, I'll be giving it up. So thank you. I really appreciate that. Any other person? Since I have one, I want to carry everybody along. Okay. I'm tempted to ask Oluwatobi to just come and do the design for us since he's a product designer. But since I've already said I'll do the design, let me do the design. Okay. All right. So please 1 minute. Sorry. Let me take a cup of water. Okay. 10%. So let's choose a frame. To choose a frame, you click here. Oh, Control Z. Sorry. Click here. This is frame. Select a frame. You select the font size. Yeah. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, don't worry. Don't worry. Go ahead. It's a mistake.
Okay. Okay. Right to know iPhone 13 mini or iPhone. Yeah, we go iPhone 13 and 14. Oh yeah. First of all, I talked about how we're using this color. So let me just carry the. I usually like, you know. Oh, this is look. There's no as I'm talking, more things are coming, but I want to restrain myself because you know you can't do a lot at once. So normally I would have imputed all of this in what we call a textile guide style. So that I just select them, right? But there is no time for that. So I'll just choose the color directly from here. So we also have this. I'll just I'll just design 1 or 2 pages and then we prototype and yeah. What else do you want to do? I like to work on my layout grid. So you select column margin, recommended margin for mobile, usually 16. And then I like my gutters to be either 16, 20, following the 4-point grid system. That's another topic on its own. So that's just do 16 for the gutters. Gutters are these things in between. Right? So then I take my ruler and give it here because I don't like seeing these grids, these columns. I really don't like. And for mobile, it really do not matter whether it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Depends on what work for you or what you want to achieve. So you may want to do 6 for it to be even. So in case you want to draw your card. So let's just keep it 6. Right? So then we are going black team. So let's give our black team. Let's take away this. Then we have a logo, right? So Naya, anyway, you are lost, let me know. I know I can be fast. This is logo. Or if you have a suggestion, also let me know. Because I know you guys are very smart. It's a logo, and this application is a dummy. It's dummy and straightforward. If you are designing something really complex, there are many other things you want to consider. For typography, I want to go with a simple modern typography, and one of my favorites is, I would have said Poppins, but Poppins is now very old. But I like outfits. There are different ones depending on what you want to achieve. Why did I choose outfit? Because outfit is stylish, modern, and beautiful, and suits what I want to achieve. So you want to say some Dine, decide, and write together. That's your text too. And then you want to tell, what it's all about. So I like using, let's use Lorem Ipsum, maybe use this is a plugin. Let's look for Lorem Ipsum. That's how you can always edit, right? Lorem Ipsum by blah blah blah. Is that what I usually choose? Okay. How many sentences? I just want two sentences generate. So it's giving me this. Usually the body text I would recommend for mobile is around 14, 12. Some can do 16, right? So let's do 14 and regular. And most times when this is a black theme, right? And I usually not want it to be pure white, so as to create hierarchy, right? So for the body text, I would either, if I had a style, color style, that I would have choose a little bit gray, but let me just adjust it here to 80%. 19, I think is fine, right? So we want to have, okay. There are many things to learn in Pro, but I'll just do one or two, like I said, because I know I have developers here, and also talk about some other things like developer handoff and how, as a designer, you could make developer handoff easy, because developers and designers are always fighting, right? So this can be a picture. You can get a picture from a splash, but then one okay, let me just do it. Go to picture on splash. Well, I usually like free pick, but I don't think free pick have a plugin, or maybe they may have, but I go directly. So you want to say um, dining or something. Okay, beautiful. You have nice stuff. Let's choose this. And then you want to, draw the button. Sorry. Coming. Let me just fix something. I'm coming. Yeah. So when it comes to button, I will usually prefer, I will recommend, due to my years of expertise, between 45, 50. So let's go with 50 for the height. And I drew a frame. See that I drew a frame. Then I would rather choose rounded corners because it's something fun, something fun, not serious. So when you want to design a serious kind of application or something, I rather recommend maybe straight edges or soft edges. But if something is going to be fun and lively, round corners, say much about it. Round corners would rather be recommended. So let's give it a corner radius of 50 fill. So let's select our brand color, which is this green. So now I have so I don't like typing every time typing. So I would rather, copy and paste or duplicate. So to duplicate, you click here, click on Alt, drag. I can, since I reduced it to 90%, I want to take it back to 100. And what I want to do is I want to create a room. That's what we want to do, right? I want to create a room. Then to shrink this, just click here, comes together. Then I put it, I also want to make it bold, semi-bold. Let's see, 14, correct. Then put it inside here. So this white on this green, I don't think it has a very good contrast. So I'm going to change this white to black, one of the black, or I can go with this black, like the original black. So this is one type of button, and this is another secondary button. In this case, I'm just going to do outline. So I changed the outline to be maybe the same green, and take away the color inside. I change it to white. So this is where you want to join your room. So this is a UI component, these buttons. So after designing, we're supposed to move it to our style guide to tell our developers that, oh, this is the kind of buttons. And also in that style guide, it's supposed to show the hover state. When you hover it, what it look like, what's the normal default state. I know you must have seen I did something that's auto layout. This is just a preamble, just for those that don't know product design, just to show you, what your designers go through physically. So this and this, auto layout. Auto layouts bring things together. I don't know how else to explain it, but yeah, 24, because I want to follow the 4-point split system. This one is what, 16. Let's just make it 16. So this, after the second one, I think I will stop so I don't overload you. So this is, they come in, they choose between creating a room or joining a room. So that's this one. Then the next one is, oh, we want to show, we want them to choose a restaurant. So you want to say select restaurants. And nothing. This is too big, so we want to go with maybe 24. We click on this auto width to bring it together. Put it here. Another thing you want to do is you want to make them to search. You want people to search for restaurants, right? So fill, let's use a fill, white fill, but rounded corners of about 50. Can reduce the opacity to like 10. No. Right. So we have this search, this I would have, do the whole auto layout thing, but I think I want to go the old school way. 24, beautiful. You can always put, you can reduce your opacity. Usually, it's a placeholder. So you want to reduce the opacity to like 70, 50, 30. Don't need this stroke. Now we need to show the different cards. So when I come to search, this can be more complex, right? Because you want to search for restaurants in a particular place, we just type, there's supposed to be like a filter here or something, but we're just going simple for the purpose of this program. So now this is where I like to use my column. I want to draw a card and I love that it should be uniform. So 2 cards, right? So the first one will take from here to here. Second one will take 3, 3. They're divided. The gutters are 16, 16. In between this one and the next one would be 16. So I have this. Let me take away this column. We have this. Let me give it a stroke first, just to identify. We're trying to build a card, right? This is not the finished point. Let's give it a corner radius of maybe 20. Doesn't have to be completely round. So we have this. So what do you think people would like to know? The restaurant, picture, the name of the restaurant, maybe ratings, right? And the location of the restaurant, basically. So this is where we draw another frame in here. I can always center it. Let me just do this. Then the name. Let's carry one of this. You alt. Bring it here. Example of a restaurant, maybe Ntachi Ibosi for those that are in Nigeria or Enugu. Conversant with it. Another thing we want to show is we want to see the location. Independent layout. or depending, open Sheraton, Lekki, whichever, right? But in this case, you must have searched for maybe. So this, since this is the title, we can make it 16 and make this one, which is a caption, to be 12. This left. We want to have an icon. So like I said, if you have an icon set, very beautiful. But let's use the, I want to use the plugin. So I talked about the plugin, right? So let's talk about, let me show you what the plugin looks like. Iconify, and show yourself. It's loading. So Iconify has a lot of plugins. Where's that place? Okay, I've searched for something. So has a lot of, sorry, icon in different categories. I don't know. I used to show it here. Material, whatever you want. But yes, let's look for location. We're going for still kind of icons. There are many laws, right, that I cannot, explain all of it now, right? That makes us make some certain decisions, right? So I'm going for fill and size 12 by 12 is too fine. And I want to give it the primary color. Into Z. And this is already okay. Interesting. So let's just do this and this, this and this. And then we want a place where people can actually select. So we may just do and where people can tick. Okay, I have to be fast now. This. So because people need to select the restaurant. So let's use Unsplash. Okay, let me borrow this so I don't keep going to the next every second. This auto layout it down. This its layouts. Let's do 16 for consistency purposes. This auto layout. Oh, I don't like this. Nah. So this outline, I don't think is the best. So we're going to go with no. Feel. If something like this. For this, you want to have two variations. You want to make it a component. This is another topic on its own. And then you want to add the variant. This is a lot. I'm sorry for those that may not be conversant with this, but yeah, one step and other. That's why we are here, Dome. We're here to help you through the journey, depending on the one you want. Let's collect a tick from plugin. Qualify. I'm almost done. Check. Yeah, take a very nice check, import as a frame, and then I could adjust it. I think this should have a few. Let's take away this true. And we can make this black. All right. So we take this, copy, paste to replace. Okay. This is inside the frame. Beautiful. So this is one of our components. We create a component like this, and we can always duplicate. So there's something called components, and there's a reason for a component. Since this, let's do auto layout. Okay, I think I'm going to stop here. Duplicate here, duplicate here. This. I know this is a lot, right? You can't just learn all of this, but I want you to have an idea what it takes to build this. There's the 24. So yeah, at this point, I want to know who's still with me. I want to know who's still with me. Who's still with me? Or we're lost. Who's still with me? Oh, that will be okay. Thank you. So this is a, how high fidelity, is made, right? So if you want to, go into product design, Dome can help, help you through that part. So like I said before, I'd already done this, but I want to show you some of the process to this, right? So let's just go into what I made before. It looks as if the one I even did here is even final, like presently. So this is, let me explain. I'll have to play it because I think I prototyped it. I talked about mood board. Mood board is where you go out and search for, inspirations that can help you make some certain decisions. So, yeah, for example, for me to be true, let me see. Before I came up with some of this stuff, I had to, gather some things together. I came here, right? This is a screenshot from UI8.net. UI8.net. If you're in Nigeria and you cannot access it, but you can use VPN to access it, right? So because I already have what I have in mind, I had to go, and then I saw some of these things and it inspired me. You could see that it is not exactly it, but it's some sort of inspiration, right? I did many things. I had to, add this, add that, come up, create something on my mind that eventually, so that it doesn't look like, oh, that this thing they usually say, don't believe what you see on social media. All of these things went through a lot of thought process, right? And expertise and experience, that I've personally had. So my point is, if you are a beginner or anything, a beginner, right? Not anything. It's not magic. It's one step at a time, right? And if you're a developer, please don't undermine the work of a product designer. Thank you. So now we have this. I call it Dime pool. So we have group of people here. I would have advised, Black Nigerian people, right? But because of time, you can always get those ones on free pick, iStock, Shutterstocks, and the rest of them. So I want to create a room. I search for a restaurant, and anything I search comes, I tick it. Whatever I tick comes at the top. Then I tick the 3 of them, and then I continue. I had to put this one static here so that people don't have to scroll too much, I give the name of the room. I call it weekend parole, and want to write a note or something that you want, them to take note of. You have it here. You continue. The room has been created, and I initially had a link, but I rather choose code. Then it could be a code or link. So when you come here, it shows you the list of restaurants that you chose, right? Let me make it bigger. It shows you the list of restaurants that was chosen by, and then if you copy the link, you can share it to them via WhatsApp or anywhere, right? They come in and you could see the people that are supposed to vote. So each person, like me, I have 5 votes to share around this 6. So I could decide to, give all my 5 votes to this because I like octopus restaurants a lot. I'm inside gives 1, 3 gives 1, 1 gives 1, 1, right? So the one with the highest votes shared around, as I'm like, oh, Fodopol is rain 1. So out of the total 12 out of 20 octopus, and then this is how your weekend is made. So this is a view for when you click on, you want to enter the code instead, right? So all of these jargons that I'm saying, UI/UX is very interesting because it makes you very creative, makes you think, and yeah. And I usually recommend that I used to have issue with one developer in my company. I also work with them. The other one I work with. The thing is that he always what is his problem? Sometimes I do a design and I give it to him and it doesn't give me exactly what I want. I'm like, can't you see? And the truth is not dumb, it's not you. It's not dumb. I made that clear, please. I'm like, can't you see? Like, I dey look allow me to speak pidgin for those that may not be in Nigeria. Like, they see it at this. I'm seeing that this is not properly aligned. Can't you see it? And when I had that conversation with one of my mentors, right? And he was like, truth is that these developers, they are not designer inclined. How do I mean? I would recommend that every developer take a mini design UI course to understand certain design principles and co, right? Because to really help you, yeah. So some developers do not have eye for design; they are not interested, right? So this is me appealing to every developer to just show some sort of interest. I know the lesson be like, hey, you learn how to code now. Yes, also as designers too. Right? At some point, I learned HTML, CSS, and then JavaScript. I learned no codes too. I learned some of these things so that that's why sometimes I don't like doing designs that will finish developers because I'm like, let's pity them. This can be really complicated. This. So both designers, both developers need to have an eye for each other thing because you don't want to design something that's not responsive as a designer, and as a developer, I don't want to do what I order versus what I got. So now let's talk about developer handoff. So what's developer handoff? When I'm done with my design, I need to hand off, these designs to developers. Right over the years, I've been in tech for how many years? In product design, it was since 2019, but before product design, I have been into graphic design and the rest of them. I started with, what did I even start with? I think I started with code. I started with graphic design already. I wanted to enter, I did a little of code. I did, what's it called? What's this? WordPress. Finally, I just, you know what? Let's just stay here. And I also do some other stuff. I do project management. I've taken the project management course. And also like business, blah blah blah. Let's just by the way. So when you're handing over, some of the what even led me to this, there are some best practices I would encourage, when a designer is handing over to a developer. Um, one of it is, try to name your frames, naming your frames, right? That's that one. And when you're done, if I would recommend, okay, having a handoff meeting with your developers where you explain the flow and everything. At the same time, when you are handing off having those handoff meetings, I would advise that you record, because developers, I don't want to be harsh, developers usually do not get it at the first point, or they just want to see design look like and whether they can do it or not. And so you may be some developers, not all developers. You be done. I have this designer friend. She's like, I explained it to them. I told them, and when I asked them whether they have question, they told me that they don't have any question. Now they're not disturbing me. Yeah. See, I'm not going to ask anybody. After this thing, you need to answer the developers, because you got to design. I know developers can cover you. Likewise, designers. Anyway, let's not enter developers and our sheets, right? So our advice you record it, even developers record it, because it's not easy to keep repeating over and over again, but yes. And I also advise, the developers to go through the handoffs too. So another thing I also, sometimes, for example, where I work, we don't do a lot of, apart from Dome, don't do a lot of real-time meetings. So I just use Loom. I use Loom to check Loom, Loom, to make a record and explain everything and just paste, and they understand. And so recording plays, explaining your whole idea, decisions you made during recording, and prototyping. Prototyping, very, very, very important, right? And there's this thing, Figma have this whole developer mode, but it's paid, like you can see. So if you're working with a company that have paid Figma, I would advise you, opt for dev mode, right? And also as a developer, you should be looking towards always, advancing as things advance as well, right? So I think I've said a number of things that have personally helped, right? And as a developer, you have questions you ask, and the truth is that, and let me say what I wanted to say. Anybody that's not part of your design is dumb. What's the word? Is let me not be harsh. They don't know anything about it. So do not assume, basically. Do not assume that, oh, they're supposed to know. Don't they get it? Many designers. Do you know what it took for you to get to this point? And you think that, someone will come and take your brain and say, no, do not assume that, whoever you're handing off to knows. Explain it, right? And when you're explaining, be asking, like, explain as though you're not all there are very smart developers, like my boss here. I don't need to talk too much. You already you already get it. But there are some that, because of, in most times, is inexperience. So you need to you have to be patient as well. Developer designer relationship, you have to be really patient. And the truth is that as a designer, when you have a good rapport with developers, right, they will bring lots of gigs for you. Starting out, I had a lot of developer male friends, because like most of them are male developer friends, and how far when they get a job, like Naya, how far, you know, do this design now. So developers and designers are not supposed to fight, right? But one thing I also would want, developers to, that's something that one of my mentees told me. She was like, working with developer, we agreed on a certain amount. Now the clients have, I know some clients can be really tiring. So the client decided to short the money. Maybe it was 500K to clients like, oh, it's going to be 400K now. And the developer like, okay, you know what? I'm going to take 300K and take 100K. I'm like, so they were like, okay, you're not doing anything. I'm doing bulk of the work. Come on. So that I don't deviate, I think this is time for questions. If you have any question, in summary, just have a good relationship. Do not assume. Always communicate. Be patient with each other, because the success of that happens between both of you determine the success of the product overall. So you don't want anything lacking, basically, right? So please, I think I'm going to allow questions, and we'll come to end of these sessions. Then the developers can take over from here. Question. If you don't ask questions, look as if I've been blabbing. That's all right. I believe in myself. Any question? I've seen a lot of people here. I know Adeni have been answering presents. Atobi have. I don't know for Deborah. Hi, Deborah. Which stack are you? Are you a dev? Are you a designer? Are you a product manager? I don't know if you're going to answer me, but web developer. But I'd love to hear your voice. But okay. What level are you a bad developer? Yeah, I think I know Solomon already. All right. So, any question? Going on? Any question? Please ask me a question. I want to answer one question. Ask me now. See me, I'm begging. Ask me a question. Did someone drop anything? No. Ask me a question. I don't have question. All right. I think I can take over.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ifunanya, for this. And Ifunanya, you make the link available, Abi, so we can just share this with people after.
Okay, the link of the design, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Let me do that now. Where am I sharing it to, please?
Just send it to me. I would be the one to share.
Sure. Okay. Okay, I will do that.
All right. All right, everyone. Glad to have you guys join in. So today we're just a very high level. I know we didn't go down into the nitty gritty and details, but I think because of want of time and every other stuff, we can't really go down into nitty gritty and details. Like, unless the class will 8 2 hour class can stretch up to 4 hours or 5 hours. So if you're interested in learning more, we have something called Build Along. So it's kind of like a way of having like an extended course where you can learn skills, especially from scratch. So if you this is especially for beginners or those who are not really that confident in their skill, or they're just starting to learn, or they don't really have like any real world experience yet. and they want to like they want to get their hands dirty. They want to learn, but they still want to get their hands dirty and still have access to mentors. So this is likely to take place from June, any of May, June, and from there, just like it's going to be a close to like a 12 to 16 week program for everyone, where you get like intensive, like you get to learn intensively how like the process um of skills development is, all those processes. So yeah, different. There's going to be different tracks. As time goes on, more details will be shared. Um, so yeah, this class is going to continue tomorrow. We're going to have yet another session. We're going to have a wonderful teacher for tomorrow's session. That will be Melody Daniel. We're going to be looking at how to like structure the app and the logic and how it's going to work, and working on the data around how things work. And that means looking at the back end and how data will just like how people will interact with data and how things will work in the back end sense of things. So if you're interested in that aspect, like the programming aspect and everything, don't miss tomorrow's class. I really want to appreciate you guys for staying till the time you guys did. Yeah, so I know it's not easy to stay for almost 2 hours, learning and trying to improve. Trying to see how things are built, but this is it. Yeah, so resources and every stuff will be shared with you guys via email, and also like I said, and I'll still repeat it. I'll just share my screen right now, so I would have to just. So I want you guys to, if you've not subscribed, just come here and click on subscribe to series and put your email and every other stuff and subscribe. If you're already logged in, if you click on subscribe, it should subscribe you. This should, once you subscribe to the session, it should automatically add you to the webinar. So you'll be added to the webinar automatically. And so you don't get to miss the next ones. You will always get a reminder of like the webinar when it's about to start. You get a reminder. It's also going to be added to your calendar. So it's also going to be added to your calendar, so you'll be able to like know when to join in for each of the classes. So yeah, so we're going to be going in. We're going to be getting this app all the way to being live. We're going to try and do that in 3 days. I know 3 days might sound crazy, but I've actually built it's actually possible to build like an app like this in 3 days. Obviously, we're not going down to the nitty-gritty, like down to every other stuff. We're just trying to give you a high level overview of what it's like to build these products and brainstorm them and build them, and what's like the thing that goes into it and every other stuff. Yeah, so I really want to again appreciate you guys for being a part of this class. It's actually a very good privilege to have you guys join. Please remember to subscribe to this series if you haven't, and yeah, we'd love to see you guys tomorrow. So have a great one, everyone. Good night.